my name is Julia Brueckler. We're out here at the beautiful boonies. We have a great day today, and we thought it would be great to give you a little breakdown of the board that I'm skating. So I am very, very fortunate to ride for Birdhouse, which is Tony Hawk's company. And like I said, that's a big, big honor to be one of the few people riding for that brand. It's really, really cool. So I do ride a size 8 board right now, I have to say right now, because this has changed drastically over the years. Like when I first started 20 years ago, of course, had a 7.5, like everybody. And then I gradually worked my way up to an 8.5, which I skated for, I want to say 3 or 4 years. And then I was like, yeah, I kind of really like doing double trays and stuff like that. And that's really, really, really difficult. So eventually I worked my way back down to 8s. So now I've been skating 8s for about 4 or 5 years now. Funny thing about this is though, right before I switched down to 8s, I was finally getting comfortable with front 50s on rails, which is like the easiest trick ever, but for me it was always difficult. And it was on an 825 board with 825 trucks. So until today, I'm still riding 825 trucks on an 8 board because I was like, no, I'm not gonna lose my front 50s again. When it comes to the shape, I'm really not like super, super picky. I don't like the full shapes. I like my board to be more like old school. Like I want more of a pointy nose, more of a pointy tail, but I definitely also don't like the twin shapes. I want my nose to be a nose and my tail to be a tail. There's this trend, I want to say, or no, it's not really a trend, it's like just something that a few board companies started doing, where it's called a twin shape, where the nose and the tail are pretty much identical. But I come from like the era where people didn't do that, and I feel like that's still kind of like weird for me. It doesn't really work for me. I want my nose to be bigger than my tail, and also maybe a little less pointy than the tail, but again, I'm not like super, super picky about my shape. I just want to have a classic nose, a classic tail. And another thing that's really important to me is concave. I really need my board to have a lot of concave, because when a board's flat, I have a really hard time doing tray flips, and I can absolutely not hard flip with a flat board. So concave is something that is really, really important to me. Don't ask me about wheelbase or any of that. I have no clue. I'm definitely not a skateboard tech nerd when it comes to that. So I already said a few things about my trucks. I ride Thunder trucks. They're actually my favorite trucks. Before I got sponsored by them, I would buy them. I ride hollows, so they're a little bit lighter. But again, the main weird thing about me is that I ride trucks that are actually too wide for the board. But for me, that works perfectly fine. I do ride my trucks, I want to say, medium to hard. A lot of people ride super, super loose trucks. I feel like when I have loose trucks, I can't get the precise pop as much. But again, that's just a me thing, and that's a personal preference. For me, the medium to hard trucks work the best. I use the bones bushings. I don't like most of the trucks, when you buy them in a store, they come with super, super soft bushings, and I just can't do that. So I put in the bones bushings, and I think they're awesome. So with truck sizes, it's a little bit weird because I feel like pretty much every company measures their sizes differently. Some measure the full length, some measure only the hanger from here to here, some do in inches, some do in millimeters. So it's kind of like hard to say like, yeah, I ride this size, because everybody who rides a different company might not understand what that means. When I say my truck is too big, so you have certain sizes that are for certain boards or that fit certain parts perfectly. So I actually ride a truck that fits an 825 board perfectly, but I skate an 8 board. So that means that it's just a little bit wider than the deck. You can't really tell. But to me, it was just like, yeah, no, I've gotten used to that and I don't want to change that. And I think skating a wider truck, there's nothing wrong with it. Skating a truck that's too narrow, that's just weird. So I don't know. For the wheels, I skate Bones STF. My preferred size is 52 millimeters. And I like my wheels to be like squared off on the end and on the inside too, because I feel like that helps it helps you to stay locked into grinds, especially when you do like feebles or stuff. I feel like when they're rounded on the inside, it's really hard that you just like kind of like pop out. And same for crooks and everything. I do have my graphics always on the inside. I feel like that's maybe like an early 2000 thing, but I still think that looks a whole lot better. I also want my wheels to be white. I kind of don't like how a lot of companies now do the natural look, which is more like a yellow kind of thing. That just doesn't look right to me. I want my wheels to be white, and I want my trucks to be silver. That's what it is. Unless you have a cruiser board, then that's perfectly fine. But again, that's just my weirdness coming out. White wheels and silver trucks. For bearings, I skate the Bone Swiss. I really, really like those. I think they last very, very long. I do have to say though, before I started getting bearings from Bones, like when I was a kid or something, I would buy the cheapest bearings you could find. Back then, I think it was the Powell mini logos. I think they were like $10 or something. And they also worked fine. I mean, of course, those I have to say last a whole lot longer and are actually faster. But I guess it's a question like, hey, do you really want to spend like $70 or something on bearings, or do you want to spend 10 and just get new ones more often? It's just a personal preference thing. One thing I do and have done for more than 15 years is that I pop my shields, if you can see in there. A good friend of mine in Austria, he like did that once on a tour, and I was like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, well, if you pop the shields, the dirt can come in, but it can also come out again. I don't know if that makes sense to me. It kind of does, but it also kind of doesn't. But then I just really like the sound that it makes. Like, it's the more like nitty-gritty street sound. So I like that a whole lot better than just having the shields on. Does that do anything? Don't know, but it makes me happy. So then hardware, I think that's diamond hardware. I'm not too sure. I'm not very, very picky about hardware. I just definitely always want to have Allen hardware. The other one, I don't even know what it's called. Phillips. That just looks wrong to me. And the funny thing is that in Europe, like everybody I know skates Allen. I don't even know if you can buy the Phillips. Since we have like different measurements for like tools and stuff too, you cannot find an Allen key that fits in this hole in like a Home Depot or whatever. You have to keep the one that comes with the hardware that you buy at the skate shop, because you won't be able to like take it off otherwise, because you can't find those tools, because it's like American size, if that makes sense. So we do, of course, have Allen keys in Europe, but it's just the metric sizing. A lot of the times what I'll do is I have like one gold and a one pink or whatever hardware, because I think that looks cool. I don't have it right now, but that's something that I do sometimes. And then for the grip, I really like mop grip. I think to me, it's really important that grip is really grippy. For example, Jessup. I've never been a fan of Jessup because I feel like it's not very gritty, and I don't like the feeling that my shoe just kind of like slips all over the place. I also sometimes do some like grip tape design or something, but I haven't in a while because it takes a long, long time. And yeah, that is pretty much my setup.